Hello there, football fans. Welcome to the Mercurial Trequartistas Gamecast, your weekly dose of Premier League passion, predictions, and proper football talk. By way of introduction, I'm Datan, and joining me is my co-host, the man who understands football's future as well as its present. Mark, how are we feeling?
Oh, that was only because I was visited by the ghosts of football past, present, and future in during the Christmas holidays. So yeah.
Because they come every year to see you, don't they?
Oh yeah, no, totally,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, the ghost of Christmas past this year was the Anglo-Italian Cup. Yeah.
that does go back a while, but very good. Very good. So, everyone, what's on the menu today? We will start with Premier League talking points. We will then move on to our second segment, which is fantasy football tips for the week ahead, because most of the fixtures are midweek fixtures. And we will round things off with our third section, the obscure facts segment, which is gathering a decent amount of momentum, a bit like a Leicester City title push. So, Premier League talking points. Let's dive straight into it. This is going to be we will talk about initially, rather, an update on the title race. So, the Christmas fixtures are almost done. A simple question at this point in time, Mark. Is it still a race or is it Arsenal's to lose?
It's still a race. I think it's been a good week for Arsenal, definitely. City not getting the win against Sunderland has given them a little bit of a cushion, but it's not enough of a gap for me. 4 points, you only have to draw one and the other team win, and straight away it's closed up again. So I'd say it's been a good week for Arsenal, but it isn't over. It's certainly not a case of one team's got one hand on the trophy at all. City do have a few difficult fixtures coming up in January. I think they have a way to a few of the punchier teams. So they're going to have to try and weather them. Arsenal going to be quite happy doing what they're doing. And Villa, despite the result at Arsenal last week, I mean it was only one. It's one bad result in a string that's gone on several weeks. If they can bounce back from that and recover quickly, their charge could still be on as well. So yeah, not over.
I agree completely with you. It's definitely a three-horse race. Villa are in sparkling form at the moment. City, they have dropped a few points over the last 8 or 9 weeks, but that's understandable. But the level of experience they have, all the leagues that they've won with Pep at the helm, that will sort of take them through to the latter stages. But I'm still going to go for Arsenal. And the reason for this, it just sounds a bit weird, but they've been hurt by their losses over the last few years. There were leagues that they felt they could have really won, and it didn't work out. But the players this time, I mean, to use a very famous old catchphrase from a very famous movie series that we all love, the players just seem to have the eye of the tiger. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but they seem different. I think it's going to be Arsenal.
Well, we can see. I mean, I'm a big believer in that you've got to lose a league to know how to win it. So Arsenal have definitely got that going for them. But
Mm.
City are relentless. They have overcome bigger point gaps in the past,
Yes.
and then they're not going to stop. So
Mm.
it's going to be how how Arsenal can deal with it if the gap's tightening up towards the business end of the season. It's all very well getting the wins, early on, mid-season,
Hmm.
when there's a little bit of a gap going on. But if the chasing teams start making ground and you're running out of games,
Yeah.
that'll be where it tells. Then we'll see where this Arsenal team are at.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's kind of, now Christmas is almost done. There's one final set of fixtures prior to the FA Cup, which starts not this weekend, but the following weekend. And the business end of the season is April onwards, around Easter time. Again, there's a lot of games to be played, and that's when you really start looking at sort of where your team is and thinking, who do they have to play? and can they make a run for it? So let's see. Let's see. Very good. We move on to today's second story. So, this is about the daylight rule that's been proposed by Arsene Wenger. So, the great and incomparable Arsene Wenger, he is currently FIFA's head of global football development, as far as I know, and he's been advocating for a change to the offside law so that a player would only be offside if there is clear daylight, i.e., no part of their body that can score is level with the last defender, rather than being offside by fractions of millimetres. So Arsene argues that this would benefit attacking football and it would reduce frustrating VAR decisions where tiny body parts, as we've seen a lot of in the last few years, they decide calls. So I understand the proposed change has been trialled in some leagues, though I'm not exactly sure where. And it's under consideration by the International Football Board, but it's not close yet to being officially adopted yet. Any thoughts, Mark?
I'm sort of 50-50 on this one. I like the idea of it, but I think I'd need to see how it works in the trials before making a definite decision on whether it's something I'd want to see. It's worth remembering that offside got brought in to basically cancel out long ball, goal hanging, and there was a time where if an attacker was level with a defender, they were offside.
Mm.
And that got tweaked so that, it favoured the attacker from the 90s onwards. So being level was suddenly on. It effectively just moved the line a little bit and was intended to increase attacking play and, creative football. But then VAR strikes. VAR comes in, and all of a sudden, being level's not necessarily
Hmm.
the advantage that it used to be.
Yeah.
And when you are getting into the territory of toenails or kneecaps, sort of determining an onside, offside, then yeah, that's hugely frustrating. The daylight rule, if it comes in, is that just going to move the line? Are we still going to see sort of like fractional toenail decisions? Like all of a sudden, it's the defender's toenail that's
Yes.
playing the play of onside. So I think you'd still going to see some contentiousness with that. But then defenders might have to set up differently and take into account that the new threshold for offside means that you might have to stand off your play a little bit more and make sure you are behind them. So if
Mm.
a whole load of teams do that and all of a sudden you are bringing more defenders back behind the attackers, is it going to lead to more goals or is it going to make it more defensive? I think it's one of them that it's going to depend entirely on the style of the teams involved. Massively defensive teams might just bring the defensive line further back. And
Mm.
then you bring in even more people behind the ball. And then, attacking teams, they're going to be looking to exploit the pacey players. It's I don't know, it feels like it's one of the it could work out, it might not work out, it could be horrific, it could be really good. I think we need to see it in action just to see what happens.
Yeah. I think you've made an incredibly astute observation there. So at the moment, so the focus of like a VAR check is on the attacking player, but if they implement this, I think you're saying that is the focus just going to be on the defender, and that's just a wonderful way of saying that it might not actually solve the underlying issues with VAR and offside interpretation, which clearly exist. So that's an excellent point, Mark.
Other ways to look at it, could it be the feet? Could you gauge offside based on where the feet location are rather than it being a part of the body or a part of the body you can score with?
So we
You
would
know,
have a foot fault like in tennis.
effectively, yeah. And then you're just looking at feet.
Yeah.
And then there can't be much argument over where the feet are. So I don't know. I think that's probably opened up a talking point when it comes to offsides
Yeah.
and how how it needs to be interpreted. Are the rules adapted to suit a technological world?
Mm.
But I think it needs to be simplified and not overcomplicated to make it work out.
Well, I mean, we have spoken on a previous podcast about VAR and where we both feel, I think, in its current form, it's not really fit for purpose. It doesn't add to the game. Other sports which are more continuous, like football, they aren't perhaps best suited to a VAR check. So, I mean, in cricket, a ball is bowled and there's a break after the ball has been struck. In tennis, each point lasts about 90 seconds. So it stops after that, so checks can take place. And in those sports, VAR has added to the excitement of the sport. In football, now a goal gets scored and everyone's just like, oh, ugh.
Yeah,
And then
you don't
there's the,
know. A goal's been scored, you don't know if it's been scored.
yeah,
And there's inconsistency at play as well. I mean, you're
mm,
having goals disallowed,
yeah,
pushes in the box, and then seeing another goal
yeah,
given despite a similar or worse push in the box.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, and that's down to interpretation. I think the technology is good, but I think it's the way it's being used that isn't being the most effective at the moment. There's a lot of overanalyzing,
Hmm.
there's a lot of inconsistency, and that's just making it an incredibly frustrating experience for
Yeah,
people in and out of the stadium.
absolutely. And I think we've seen a lot in the last few, well, seasons whereby if the referee asks for a check and then they get told to go and view it themselves, it usually means that they will change their decision. And the number of times that we see a collective groan just go around the stadium at that point, it's just, yeah, it it just isn't working in its current form, and it's taken
The
away from the excitement and the fluidity of the game.
the number of aftermatch reversals as well, where they've turned around and gone, yeah, we got that wrong.
Mm.
It seems like it's been a lot this year, and Everton just had one this weekend against Arsenal, where the ruling was, yeah, they should have had a penalty. So if you can determine that they should have had a penalty after the match, looking at that footage, how come the decision wasn't penalty during the match?
Hmm. Yeah,
It's the same bit of action.
yeah,
And, Everton will be frustrated by it. Arsenal will be breathing a sigh of relief. But at the end of the day, it's still the same footage. So why is the decision after the match going, yep, should have been a penalty? And yet the same action seen during the match is leading to
yeah.
no decision.
It has to change, but let's see. But Arsene, his ideas, perhaps it will, even if it doesn't sort of fix the issues with VAR, it might sort of lead to a step in, well, the right direction somewhere. So let's see what happens. Well, there you have it, about as many takes as a VAR room working overtime, and we will, of course, keep an eye on these stories in the week ahead. If we move on to segment two, so fantasy football, there's many games this week. I think it's game week 21, and all of them are midweek fixtures prior to the FA Cup starting on the weekend ahead. Um, Mark, if you like, I can just run through the fixtures and sort of give my thoughts on the sort of main, well, points and sort of issues which may arise. So if that's okay.
Oh, go for it. VAR says yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, let's start with West Ham v Forest. West Ham, our strikers in form, and they've got the new guy Pablo, who may well play this week if he's fit and if he's integrated even slightly into the squad and teams. Um, Forest are soft in their defence. We've been saying this the last few weeks, so West Ham attackers have an advantage here. Bournemouth versus Spurs. On current form, I would pick Spurs attacker over Bournemouth's defence, which is a bit leaky at the moment. But my gut feeling is that attackers from both sides may well pop up and score. Both teams have good strikers and midfielders who are amongst the goals, so let's see how that one goes. The big one this week is Arsenal versus Liverpool. So it can only be described as an early, well, as a New Year blockbuster. So Arsenal's stars are uncountable. So Saka, Odegaard, amongst others, and Liverpool's stars who can get on the score sheet, Ekitike, Verts. Virgil van Dijk from set pieces. There will be decent goal threat from both teams, but I think it's going to be a matter of whose defence holds out best. So I actually think it might be a fairly low scoring game and it might be a draw, a low scoring draw this one. Then we have Brentford versus Sunderland. Brentford at home always do well. Sunderland travel well. Their defenders, I've been saying this the last few weeks, if you want sort of cheap punts, that sort of picking up a decent defender who is going to score highly, go for Sunderland defenders. Then we have Burnley versus United. United should take this. I think they will have a bit too much for Burnley. So Burnley are still pretty solid in terms of the defence, but it's just their offence whereby they don't offer that much, and that's where they're struggling. And let's see how things go for them. But if they pick up a few players who can score in the transfer window in January, things may change, but let's see how it goes. Then we have Palace versus Villa. This one should be tasty. Palace have a very, very strong defence, and their midfield is doing pretty well. And by this time, I think they will be having Brennan Johnson, who's signed from Spurs, integrated into their squad. So he's a very, very good striker. He will be amongst the goals, and he will be a welcome boost for Palace. Aston Villa, very strong. We've spoken a lot about Villa in the last few weeks. Um, I think there could be quite a few goals in this. So let's see what happens. Then we have Everton versus Wolves. I think Everton will be far too strong for Wolves. Simple as. Fulham versus Chelsea. This is also a tasty one. It's a West London derby. And though Chelsea have lost Maresca, um, form usually goes out of the window, or circumstances that the team is facing often goes out of the window in the derby. So I'm going to say advantage Chelsea here. Though Harry Wilson, excellent at set pieces, he's been amongst the goals. He could be one to go for. Then we have City versus Brighton. Brighton can score, but my expectation is that City will dominate possession and they will outscore Brighton pretty comfortably, especially at home. Top picks here include Haaland, Foden. Their defenders are outstanding. If you can, pack your team full of City players because they are playing very, very well. And the final game of the week is Newcastle and Leeds. Newcastle at home, very, very strong. Their attackers should do well, but Leeds are travelling well. Leeds are playing very well in terms of their defence. They have not conceded many goals. Could be a tough one, this. I'm going to go for a Newcastle victory, but it's going to be very, very tight. Could be 2-1 or 1-0, but let's see. Captaincy, City and Arsenal are playing each other. So, I mean, I've just said earlier that I think it's going to be a game of defences. And now, having said that, it will be another 5-4. But Ekitike and Haaland maybe not ones to go for this time. This week, I'm going to go for Newcastle strikers. Pick a Newcastle striker, either Walter Maida, Wissa, Anthony Gordon. I'm sure he will be playing. And also, an off-field pick would be Cole Palmer. He usually does very well against Fulham, and he's definitely the creative hub for Chelsea. So there we go. He would be one to go for. Anything, Mark? Anything to add to that?
I wholeheartedly encourage Pep to rest Haaland. It's time to give him a bit of a rest now. Yeah, he's had a lot of fixtures. Needs to put his feet up and get ready for later.
I'm not sure who they
I
play in the cup, but that might happen at the weekend.
I think there's a few teams that are looking a little bit on the tired side. I kind of feel like this cycle of Premier League games might be one too far. I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a really low scoring game week.
Hmm.
A few nil-nils, 1-1s, 1-0s. There's a bit of creaking going on with some teams.
Yeah.
So I feel like Fulham might surprise Chelsea though.
Hmm.
That I think they might sneak that.
Okay.
Uh, I feel like the Arsenal Liverpool game is going to be dull.
I can remember there was it was an FA Cup tie a few years ago. Again, it was in early January. The sort of it was the first batch of FA Cup ties. It was Arsenal versus Liverpool, and I think Liverpool won that. So it was Klopp's final season in charge. the game was pulsating, but there just weren't that many goals. It was a really, really good, exciting game. Both teams
Yeah.
played amazingly, but I don't
I
know.
think Klopp did play a lot of youth players though in that one. They really were going at it like they had nothing to lose.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. This doesn't. This should have been a top of the table league deciding fixture. It doesn't feel like it this year,
Mm.
and I think the game's gonna
Hmm.
suffer because of it.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
But in a way, it's
but
advantageous to Arsenal because they've got this very tough game out of the way. I mean, I think they lost the game at Anfield. That was quite early on in the season.
yeah,
But here, if they can, I mean, having to face Liverpool home or away is not something that any team would relish. Though Liverpool's form is very patchy at the moment. There's no, there's like that's just obvious to all. But if they can get this game under their belt, if they can win it, Arsenal will be even further along the path to win the league.
I think Arsenal, when they have looked like they've slipped up, it's tended to be when they've had a bit of a lead. So
Hmm.
are they being too comfortable when they're getting ahead, and then all of a sudden, oh, drop points? Because that's kind of how they let City back into it a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be worth seeing how how they defend this gap. But I still don't think the gap at the top's enough yet. It's still tight on, and nerves will come into play at some point.
Or as Fergie used to say, squeaky bum time.
Oh well, I mean, you can get a cream for that.
Moving on to our obscure facts section. So, this week we have two obscure facts for you. So let's start with the player who scored in both nets. So the famous player who scored in both nets. So this is a story from the early 1980s, and it references an Aston Villa player known as Kenny Swain who scored for Villa in a game, and then he put in a goal for Stoke City, who were the opposition. So he scored for his own team and then an own goal for Stoke, who his team were playing. So the game took place on the 16th of August 1980. I believe it was the opening day of the 80-81 English First Division, which was the precursor to the Premier League. And so, yeah, as I say, he scored a goal for Villa, but also conceded an own goal against Stoke City. And scoring at both ends is a rare feat. And I believe that Swain is a trivia favourite. And after this happened for quite a while, apparently he became a target of fan banter up and down the country. So, yeah, strange story, but yeah, I just thought I'd share it and put it out there.
Yeah, I mean, you say it's a rare feat. We've all done it, right?
Um, I'm
You
no,
never done it?
no.
I yes, I have.
But I think you've played a lot more football than me, all the way throughout. So, school and sort of beyond. So,
To be fair, it did teach. It was a valuable defensive lesson. Uh, yeah, if I remember right, I was on the left wing, so no, I noticed an attack from the other team, and a guy had broken free, and I actually tracked back. I thought, hang on, no one's noticed this one.
yeah.
So I'm running back, got into my own box. The cross comes in. It's right on me, right on my head. And for some reason, I tried to head it over the crossbar and bulleted it straight into the goal. And after that, I remember like the coach turning around and going, "He never head it towards your goal." And I was like, "Oh, I'll remember that," and never did from that point on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was less inclined to track back as well afterwards.
I can imagine. Yeah. No. Well, I'm sure the opposition team thought so as well.
Oh, but yeah, they liked it. But
Yeah.
yeah, Kenny's yeah, the Villa one. Yeah, I can imagine the abuse from the crowd on that one. I mean, they're gonna remember that for years.
Mm,
Every time you're playing against. So yeah.
yeah. But I suspect for Stoke City, Kenny Swain was like probably a hero. And, like they would toast him in their pubs.
I think it depends on the quality of the own goal as well. I mean, if it's a really good finish, you don't want You don't want it to be sort of like one of these bobbling off multiple knees and just going in off the back of your head.
Yeah,
If you're going to do it clean.
if you do it right. Yeah. We move on to the second obscure fact for this week. So it concerns a player that I'm sure you remember well from when we were kids. It was Rivaldo. So he scored in 4 decades. So Rivaldo actually scored professional goals in the 1990s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and the 2020s. Those of you who remember football in the 90s, you might recall he played for Barcelona, AC Milan, and Brazil. Later on, some smaller clubs. But the point to sort of raise here is that his longevity, it's rare amongst elite players. He obviously adapted his style to remain effective. But it shows how legends can stretch their careers across eras. I mean, and we will see more and more of that. I mean, we've seen it with Cristiano and Messi. They are still playing now at a more advanced stage, but they're both still pretty. I mean, like they are doing well. Salah, someone like him, he looks very, very fit, and though he's sort of in his early to mid 40s, sorry, early to mid 30s now, I suspect he can sort of play up to a ripe old age, and we will see more of this as medical science advances over time.
It's pushed on a lot of players' careers. Rivaldo, Romario, all going quite late on. Ronaldo, what is he? He's going till he's scored 1,000 or something like that. And yeah, Messi, Salah, they look like they got a good few years in them.
Yeah.
We will see more of it.
Hmm.
It's pushing the boundaries. I mean, players used to be done by the time they were 30, back
Yeah.
in the day.
Yeah.
And now we're in a situation where we're probably, yeah, all eyes on James Milner making it to his 60s.
But it's always impressed me. I think it was the Italian clubs. They were always ahead of the curve for this. So they would often pick up pros who were sort of older, and in certain other leagues, they may have been thought of as sort of slightly over the hill. But if you think of the number of players who played to a ripe old age for Juve, AC Milan, Inter as well, it's hugely impressive. I mean, I think this was quite a while ago, but at one point the AC Milan defense they were brilliant, but they had a lot of players who were sort of in their mid to late 30s, and yeah, they did very, very well. Juve as well. I mean, I can remember reading an article. This was as a kid that they said at Juve it was down to the diet and the supplements that the players were taking, which, they knew what they were doing because they had a lot of players that played to a ripe old age as well. But interesting stuff. I mean, if you can keep the body going and you've got all that experience, you will be, an even better player than you were perhaps in your early 20s when you didn't have that experience and knowledge of the game. So, and that applies to all sports as well. I mean, if you look at Djokovic in tennis in particular. So,
Snooker as well. I mean, the
yeah.
players that are playing now,
Mm,
they were all in the 90s, weren't they? 1990s. So,
yeah.
yeah, players used to get older from that. The eyes used to go. But
Mm,
no, we're still seeing O'Sullivan,
yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
still playing Matt Williams, winning at 50.
Yeah.
Was it 50 that he? Yeah, I mean, that's some achievement now. So, yeah,
So,
the boundaries and awareness of how to look after
hmm.
yourself
Hmm.
and stay at the top of games is, yeah, it's definitely out there. So,
And all the sponsors and the manufacturers of sporting goods, they love it because they
oh,
have an
yeah,
established product that they can sort of keep marketing to the masses for even
yeah,
longer.
legends of the game going up against the new up and comers. So, yeah, it's
Oh,
yeah,
well, I
good
mean,
to see.
yeah, I mean, I was reading earlier today that I think Venus has been given a wild card for the Australian Open, but people want to see her, sort
Mm,
of play. I mean, I can remember Venus in the US Open, like she got the biggest cheer over and above all players, like male and female, because people want to see her play. It's just wonderful
yeah,
to like see her coming back. And say for instance the guys who have retired and packed things in over the last few years, like say like Federer, Nadal, Andy Murray, if they were to come back, they would get these huge cheers as well if they were given wild cards. Goes without saying. But
yeah. Hey, Bjorn Borg gave it a go back in the
he
90s.
did, and am I wrong in thinking he used wooden rackets even at that phase? So
He's still no, he's still using the wooden racket
mm,
back when he came back.
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
may, I mean, yeah, it probably didn't help at the time.
Well, that's all we have time for this week. Until the next time, keep the faith and please do like and subscribe to our channels on social media and do get involved if you're so inclined. We are back sometime next week with more TMTG goodness. Until the next time, until all are one.